What up, everybody? It is your guy, the Bad Diggity Dizzle, here with the NFC East Super Friends Week 7 NFC wrap-up. If you're watching this video, as always, appreciate you taking time to click on the video. Subscribe to the NFC Super Friends. Subscribe to this channel. Myself, Louie T, Law Nation, and Lord Brunson. LB will all be live tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you set your alarms, mark calendars. You ain't going to want to miss it. It's certainly been one hell of a season so far in the NFC East. Obviously not as good as it was last year. Last year seemed to be a lot better. Certainly for me, as a New York Giants fan, last year at this time, we were 6-1 and feeling really good about ourselves. The times have changed this year for the New York Giants as they have struggled mightily this season, dealing with poor quarterback play, poor offensive line play, bad coaching, a lot of injuries. No excuses. They're just a bad team. But one thing that hasn't changed is the ability to beat Washington. Your New York Giants win ugly, as every game between the New York Giants and Washington Commanders seem to be. It is an ugly game. It's two bad teams. I'll say this. The Giants are a bad team. The Commanders are a not-so-good team. But they struggled mightily against the New York Giants. They could not protect Sam Howell whatsoever. The New York Giants had 5 sacks on the season going into that game. They had 6 in that game alone, as Sam Howell was constantly hounded, rushed, threw it interception. The New York Giants got out to a really good lead. They moved the ball incredibly well. Deep passes to Jalen Hyatt. Darren Waller had his best game of the season, 7 catches, 98 yards, and a touchdown. They got Saquon Barkley rolling a little bit. And the Giants looked really good in that first half. They completely dominated Washington. They were up 14-0. I felt like they should have been up by more. Graham Gano missed a field goal. It just felt like the Giants really should have been up by a lot more than they were. 17-0, 24-0. They just dominated. They outgained Washington by about 200 yards in the first half of that game. But there's always a tale of two halves. And the Commanders come out. They go 3 and out. Looks like, this defense just continues to kick Sam Howell's ass, to continue to get pressure. Washington didn't do a good job of running the ball. The Giants defense was incredible in that game on Sunday. But as is the Giants' way, muff punt by Sterling Shepard. This is after Eric Gray already muffed a punt early in the game. He was able to, recover and get on top of it. Sterling Shepard was not. Washington took over deep in Giants territory, scored a touchdown. From that point on, there was a lot of back and forth, a ton of punting, a lot of pressure on both sides. Chase Young was a beast. Now, granted, Justin Pugh is just off the couch. He's playing out of position. He's left tackle. Chase Young probably got a contract in that game alone. He was a stud. It seemed like every time the Giants handed off or, drop back to pass, Chase Young was involved in the play. He was fantastic. Washington's defense did a really good job of adjusting in that second half. The Giants had a hard time moving the ball. The Commanders hung tough. As the way it always is with these two teams. None of them ever get away from one another. Watching the game, I'm like, here we go, 14-14 tie. Why not? We tied last year. Why not tie this year? Then the Giants start driving down the field late in the game. We're about to ice it. We're either going in for 6 or kicking a field goal, going up by 2 possessions. Washington come back. Game's over. We win. Saquon fumbles at the 7. Of course he does. Because why would the Giants put anybody away, especially Washington? And vice versa. When Washington's beating our ass or they're dominating the game, you look up and it's like 10-3. Like, neither one of these teams can get away from one another. But inevitably, everything always seems to break the Giants' way. And again, the Giants, just for whatever reason, it's just one of those things you cannot explain. I'm not sitting here telling you the Giants are better than Washington, because they're not. It's just weird. Records don't matter. Louis T said it. He said the Giants are going to score in the first half. He said that streak will be broken. The Washington Commanders are streak breakers, and he was right. They broke the Giants' losing streak. They broke the streak of the Giants not scoring a touchdown in the first half. But for whatever reason, when the New York Giants and the Washington Commanders play, the New York Giants always seem to get the best of them, no matter what the record, no matter what the team, no matter what the quarterback. It just doesn't seem to matter. It's very strange. Watching that game, I thought Deonte Banks did a fantastic job against Terry McLaurin for much of the game. Fourth quarter, McLaurin kind of got going there a little bit, but I thought Deonte Banks was amazing. Micah McFadden put on an all-star performance as well. He was the highest PFF graded linebacker, of the week. I thought Dexter Lawrence played a really good game. I thought that Leonard Williams showed up. So Giants defense as a whole was really good, and they win an ugly battle, 14-7. If you're a Washington fan, you have to sit back and kind of figure what the hell is going on. I know a lot of Washington fans want Ron Rivera out of there. I'll be honest, if there's another losing record in Washington this year, I can definitely see Ron Rivera being gone. I don't want to really speak to Washington, what Washington's going to do, because I'm not a Washington fan. I'll let Louie T discuss that. We'll discuss it more maybe tomorrow night. But what I'm looking at is the one thing I'd be concerned about if I'm a Commander fan and you make that change, which it's understandable why you would make the change. Rivera has not lived up to expectations in Washington. It just hasn't. They won a division title at 7-9. That's nothing to write home about. But they haven't won a playoff game. They made the playoffs, I think, once in his tenure, maybe twice. They haven't won a playoff game. So the one thing you could say is you really don't want to do to Sam Howell what the Giants have done to Daniel Jones, and us constantly bring in coaches and coordinators and a bunch of different, people to a bunch of different chefs in the kitchen. Too many chefs spoil the pot. You don't want to do that to a young quarterback, but I would understand making the move from Ron Rivera. So that's the Giants and Commanders game. Obviously, Sunday night, we saw probably the best team in the NFC. Let's be honest. I hate it. Makes me throw up in my mouth a little bit to talk about the Philadelphia Eagles like that. But watching San Francisco struggle the last 2 weeks, losing to Cleveland and their backup quarterback, and then losing to Minnesota, Kirk Cousins 2-10 on Monday Night Football, and 378 yards he threw for against San Francisco. Brock Purdy threw a couple of picks. San Francisco's looking human. But the Philadelphia Eagles probably played their best game of the year. Now, Miami was a little bit beat up. They didn't have Xavier Howard, and I understand that they're a little beat up, but I don't like to use that as an excuse. The Eagles played a complete game. The Eagles' defense is really good. They just went out and they got a safety. I forgot his name off the top of my head. They just keep getting better. Jalen Hurts hasn't even played good this year. Let's be honest. Jalen Hurts turned the ball over a lot. He threw another interception on Sunday night. He's thrown 8 interceptions. He threw 6 all last year, so he hasn't taken care of the ball. He looks a step slower. He's been inaccurate. He hasn't been great. A.J. Brown has been fantastic. A.J. Brown is a freaking beast, an absolute stud. The Philadelphia Eagles, again, I don't even think they've hit their stride, and here they are 6-1. That is a mark of a really good team when you haven't played your best football and you continue to win games. That is a testament to the talent that is on that team. I hate talking about Philadelphia like that, but I'm being completely honest, and it's just my opinion. That's a really good team over there, both sides of the ball. Their defense is stout, their offense is stout. They got a great line on both sides of the ball. They win in the trenches. Nick Sirianni can go. I hope he gets an itch in a place he can't scratch. I can't stand Nick Sirianni. I hate him. But the Eagles have done a really good job so far this year. There's not much to write home about with that game, except for the Eagles pretty much dominated from pillar to post. Miami was never really in the game. Eagles walk away with a 31-17 victory. And again, after watching San Francisco the last couple of weeks, I would say right now, if you're going to say the best team in the NFC, I think you got to give it to Philadelphia. A couple of weeks ago, I would have said probably San Fran. But watching the way the Eagles have, like I said, just kind of not even played good, and they're 6-1. The way they played Sunday night, they may be hitting their best stride right now, and that's a scary thought if you're a fan in the NFC East or the NFC in general. Anyway, I appreciate you watching. That's all I got for the NFC East wrap-up Week 7. Remember, subscribe to this channel, and remember, 8 o'clock tomorrow. Get there early. Get there 7:45 so you don't miss it. Set your alarms. You're not going to want to miss it. Me, Louie T. Law Nation, Lord Brunson. We're going to chop it up, Super Friend style. We'll see you tomorrow. It's Bad Diggity Dizzle, and I'm out. Peace.